Alright, we're back with War of the Visions with the Ultimate Chi. I can't believe that last video about the tier list ended up taking an hour. Um, and the worst part is I only went through collab units. I didn't even get a chance to go through all of the actual War of the Vision units. Oh, that sucks. Alright, I guess that was a good point, and I guess that was a good intermission. And now we can get to part two. You see everybody else's tier list videos, and it's like 20, 30 minutes. I don't know how the hell mine is 2 hours. 1 hour going and then another hour with all these. It's might even be 3 hours to be honest. Anyways, let's start. Adalar. Um, pretty good red mage, jamming thrust. Um, he would be the red mage if there was no rain. So story wise, I think Adalar is very interesting story wise. Overhyped, but very interesting. Because Nitor is the second division of Horn. Horn has Solidus and Nitor, and I think, and like Nitor is hyped to be even better than Solidus, because Nitor never lost. That was their whole title. Nitor never loses. Unfortunately, he lost to Gragas and Thanatos. I think that was the name of the other guy. So he did lose, and he accepts the defeat. He goes to King Rob. He's like, uh, uh, I'm sorry I failed you, King Rob. King Rob's like, you haven't failed yet, and I'm here as reinforcements, and they actually beat Gragas. So he admitted defeat, so technically that was a defeat, but he didn't end up defeated at the end because King Rob came. Uh, but when you look at it, when you look at the lineups on both sides, right? You got Adalar, Salir, his sister, and then Shadow Lynx and Ketone was there too. So that's basically three MR. Well, the thing with the story is you can't count who's MR and who's UR, because based on the story, Alucard should be UR, because he's so good. But he's not. Uh, it's uh, it's basically three MRs and a UR versus two MRs, and they still lost. No wait, three MRs because Ryu was on their side. Um, but obviously you got to consider that each side has their armies. So story wise, I give him an A. And the part that puts him in A tier isn't really that he was noble enough to admit defeat. It was cause when they were following Gragas and Thanatos, they found a small village, and those two had their these guys look like crazy S&M crazy S&M torturers, and they have like a little son that they're really good to, and they support the whole village, and you find out their motivations in the back. And Adelar saw that, and he can respect that. Whereas when Ketone saw that, Ketone was like, "I thought you guys were undefeated. I thought you were a badass. Why didn't you kill? Why didn't that was the perfect chance to ambush them? Why didn't you ambush them?" And Adelar was like, and obviously at the time, like Leonis is still enemies with Leonis is technically still enemies with Horn. So and Ketone's on the other side. So when Adelar kind of gave him some sass for that. But basically Adelar's reasoning was, I don't want to involve innocent people, which is very noble of him. So that's why he gets an A for story. Cause he wasn't, cause like, he's not like Ketone who's like, oh, and you can understand Ketone being like that cause she's a ninja, but like, he wasn't willing to involve innocent people. And that actually ends up being a big theme along the story, as we go forward with a lot of these characters. So A for story, B plus for battle, one of the better MR units. So I'll give him B plus. I may even put him as A. Let's give him A. His battle isn't that great, but that moment with the kids is very good. Gave him, earned my respect. Uh, Crap. Eileen. Eileen is Brave Exvius. Never played Brave Exvius, so this is gonna apply to all the Brave Exvius characters. So story is kind of a no. Give him an A for story. Character wise, she reminds me of the shoot, I forgot what her name is in in My Hero Academia. Very the tech girl, and she's a weapons otaku, so I like her. I like her character just based on a couple of lines that she has. Um, so I give her a so story or character. I would just give her a B because even though she doesn't have a story, her character I think is pretty interesting. Design looks like a My Hero Academia character, which is reminiscent to that show, and I kind of like that show, so I'll give him a B for design. Battle, uh, Aaron J runs his whole has a whole channel on how good Eileen is, and Eileen seemed to be one of the weaker units between her and Mashiri, but he can make her work, so she's still workable. Like Mashiri, people think is not workable, so there you go. Ayaka, nothing for story. I like how she feels like she's a humble white mage. She's always like, I'll do my best. And meanwhile, she's the best healer in the game up until Little Leela came out, which in JP is almost like a year and a half, or which in JP is almost like a year. In Global, she's best healer for like 7 months. In JP, she's best healer until Halloween, which is and then after Halloween in November is the first year anniversary. So she's basically in JP, she's best healer for like a year. In Global, she's best healer for like 7 or 8 months. So S tier healer, no story. I think her design is kind of that of a white mage, kind of meh. Uh, but like I like her attitude, humble white mage attitude, but actually really good. Uh, Bilo, this guy, I feel like he's the mole. I feel like he's a spy on in the Leonis army. Um, I don't think it's officially revealed him to be a spy, but like, and it doesn't really, I can't tell, like, and if he is a spy, like, they don't say who he's working for. Like, I don't know if he's working for Fennis, he's working for Sottoli. I just don't know who he's working for here. Because there was a point where, like, he was holding the communication device, and I figured, like, he might have been the one to turn it on. Liart actually likes him, but like I think he's into Victoria and Luasa maybe, or he's just a traitor and he knows that like Victoria and Luasa are also traitors. Um, like if you're a traitor for a reason, I can respect that. Like, oh, this guy killed your family. You're kind of uh you joined them and you're hiding it really deep and you just come back and kill him later. I can respect that. That's good character development. In his case, don't he's a fat guy design. um, I'm not gonna count that against him. I just maybe give him a B for design. It's comedy relief, him and the art. But story wise, he's betraying Leonis, or I believe he's betraying Leonis. Uh, battle wise, he's not that good. I give him a C, just cause like, oh, I might even give him a D because he's kind of how should I say it? He's conniving, and I just don't think he's conniving for a good reason. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, how much are they gonna develop? How much are they gonna develop? I think this is just a rare character. How much are they gonna develop him? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, they'll probably just be like, oh, he was working for Fennis, or he was working for Sottoli, and that's that. Like, they're not gonna be all like, oh, I'm working for Fennis and Sottoli because Leonis stole my family land and they killed my family and destroyed my village, whatever, right? That's not happening. Shell, I think, is very interesting. She wants to be recognized by her brothers, Howlett and Tightass. That's how I remember his name, Tightass, because I read it. Best support in the game. Uh, so if you're the best of anything in the game, I guess I would give you S tier. So S tier support for battle. Story wise, I think she provided some upbeat enough to counter Tight Ass's character. So I would give her B for story. So I guess I would leave her as B plus or A. I guess I'll put her B plus. I guess that comes down to design. I am not a fan of I believe it's Ovi. I don't remember where they're from. I am not a fan of the design with the coat and the little ring in the back. She's cute though. So I give her B for design as well. Curry. I'm talking for an hour. King Curry. All right, we're all gonna let's get real. King Curry's a dick. We all know it. So for the story, and I totally think, and for the record, I think Victoria is playing him. Uh, so he's Gracela's father, and for these kings, you kind of got to look at it in the king's point of view. So he's Gracela's father. He wants to give the throne to Gracela, but the nobles aren't cool with that because Gracela is born of a common woman. So he orders Gracela to kill her whole family, kill her own family, which is kind of a dick move. And then he kind of betrays his own he hates Horn. So the way the four countries work is Rosette hates Horn and Leonis hates Venice. So that's why Horn and Venice are teamed up and Leonis and Rosette is teamed up. But this guy betrays his allies. He's hungry for power. His ultimate goal is to work with Sadoli and then betray Sadoli too, and I don't think that's happening. To be honest, I feel like Luasa and Victor is playing him. But it's hard to tell which side Luasa and Victor is on. I'm guessing the church's side. But anyways, this guy, he fights dirty. He shoots arrows out of nowhere to sneak attack people. Turns on his own allies. It's all about him, basically. Like he's crazy selfish. Leonis is their Leonis is their Leonis is their ally, but he kind of turns on him because he feels like because Mont and Gracela are engaged that he would side with Gracela. So as a king, I can understand. You're trying to secure your own power. You're trying to give your legitimacy to your daughter, give the throne to your daughter, but making her kill her whole family, that's crazy. Uh, and he's got the very like no one betrays me kind of like he's a villain, but not like Sadoli. Like Sadoli and Moraga are like top tier villains. This guy's just an ass. Like even looking at it from a king's kind of point of view, this guy's an ass. Uh, so because of how hated he is in the story, I'll give him a D for story, I guess. Battle wise, it's basically about the same level as a standard MR, which I guess I would call B tier. Uh, his design, he's got the very like uh, got that decorated soldier kind of like decorated northern soldier, kind of like a German or Russian soldier. So or like kind of got that Napoleon thing going on. Design, I'll give him a B. I give him a C tier unit. C tier, C tier character. Don't really not a fan of him. Uh, he's not. I'm not really a fan of him. Like sometimes I can understand certain decisions from a king's point of view. You're the king. You got to make that choice. I can understand that. Him, I think he's just an ass. To be honest. Dario, really cool guy. Mashuri's brother and Rob's son. Um, really cool guy. He's hiding his power. I don't know if he's dead or not. They kind of just left him there. I don't know what's up with that. They kind of just left him there. I guess as a corpse. But even if he's a corpse, you would want to like he's the prince of a nation. You would want to like take the corpse somewhere and bury it. And Venera kind of just ditched his corpse or ditched him wounded. I don't know what the case was for that. I don't know what's up with that. So Dario, uh, he actually does love Venera. I'm pretty sure he knew all along that like she wasn't really Fennis's princess. But he loved her anyway. And at the end, he told like Venera to kill him because like otherwise, those bad people were gonna kill Venera. And then he unleashed his true power and killed everybody else. So strong character. The love story, I think, it's a better love story than the Sitso and yeah, love story. And that card's called was it uh Vow of Love. His card with Venera is correct. Deceptive deceptive vow, honest love. I think that's how you put that. I think that's an effective that's an accurate that's an accurate description of their story. Battle wise, top tier MR tank. Top tier MR magic tank. Top tier unit in battle. Like he's UR levels of strong for being an MR unit. So when you're an MR and you break that UR threshold power gap, I would call you an A tier unit. Story wise, I give him an A for that love story. But he's A tier unit. I think his design's pretty cool. He looks kind of young and girly, but not. Mm. Design, I give him an A. I'm cool with that design. Gragas, you would think he's an ass, but I'll give him some things. Like he's loyal. He's loyal to Sadali. Uh, he loves kids, and the way and it's brilliant. I think that there was a subtle jab at the homophobe community, the people that are homophobic, because uh him and the other guy, him and Thanatos, I think his name was. Him and where's that guy? Do I not have him? That's weird. I guess I'm missing a guy. Uh, Basically they're dressed up like torturers, right? I guess I gotta pull that guy up. But and if I can't find them, I guess I'll just put them both in the same place. MR unit, standard MR unit. Call him a B tier unit. Story wise, big plot shift. You think he's both of them are very loyal to Sonali, and all of a sudden like hey they're loyal because they have they got a little village to feed. Like that's A tier stuff right there. Uh, so you having a little village to feed gives you some background character motivations, and that's generally the trope for a lot of assassins and mercenaries, which is understandable. That's normal. So just having that, I would give you a B tier for story. But what's better is this guy when confronted with his kid asked a hard question. Right, this is a hard question for most people, especially especially homosexual families, right? Where there's two dads and the son asks, "Hey, why do I have everybody in school's basically making fun of me because I have two dads?" So he calls them dads. And he's like, "Why do I have two dads?" And he's like, he tells his son, "Do you like apples? Yes. Do you like fathers? Yes. The more the better, right?" So the way he treats the kid is really nice. Uh, and like him and the other guy, I don't think there's any kind of relationship going there. I think they're just battle buddies and partners. So it's not that they're gay, but like the story actually took a good jab at the people that were like took a good jab at that question uh that question about the two dads, and and he gives a good answer. He's like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Uh, Having one dad is good. Having two dads is better. Basically, is his answer. And I think he answered that in a pretty mature way. To the kid, anyways. So B tier ability, B tier battle power. Uh, I think his design is I give his design a B plus. And here I'm just ranking both of them together because I can't seem to find the other guy. So I give him a B plus for design. Accidentally kill Sir O and Princess Helena. And Uh, Here's the thing: you can tell he's loyal because he's loyal, but he's not loyal to a fault. So they went to get they followed Princess Helena, and the plan was to kill Helena, or the plan was to capture Helena, but tell Stern that Helena died, so Sottile can use Stern. But they do accidentally kill Helena and Sir O. So story wise, they're actually pretty strong in the story. In battle, standard B tier, standard B tier MR. MR, I give a B tier. You gotta be A tier or better to be. You gotta be UR to be A tier. Uh, so battle design, those two are intimidating enough. As torture enforcers, it fits. The story with their loyalty to Sottile, them taking the double crossing Moraga and keeping the artifacts. I think it's good. Unfortunately, that's gonna come back and bite them in the butt. But yeah, definitely a good story on the two of them. Give them an A for story, B for battle, A for design. I guess B plus would be decent. Unless I want to make unless I want to make an A minus tier where if you get two A's in a category and a B or a B plus, then you go to A minus instead of B plus. But no, that's too annoying. King Ode. This guy. Let's start with battle. He's one of the earlier units. So battle wise, um, I guess he's not incredibly good in terms of battle. I mean, I heard there are builds where if you just use his limit break, he becomes really tanky and hard to kill for 3 turns. Uh, Very weak to magic, so Ildira will one-shot you. Um, when I say that there aren't that many fire units and they're few and far between, he's one of them. Right now, I think he's the only fire unit other than Rain that's not limited. Fire spear user. Well, I have a spear team and I don't use him, so I guess that speaks to how good he is as a spear user. I guess he would be like Eileen tiers of spear using. So let's say he's B plus tier, right? Let's say the average for UR is A for battle. He's about B for battle. Let's give him B for battle. Um, his design, uh, I think his design in Birth of the New Life looks better. The younger version of him looks better. His design makes him look like his armor makes him look like the knight from like the knight sprite from Fire Emblem. Uh, Story wise, let's see. So he wants to say. So they find Mashuri passing through his territory. He doesn't capture her. Uh, uh, and then Mont somehow falls in. I feel like the love story between Mont and Mashuri. Uh, I just think it's kind of lacking. But anyways, I'll talk about that when we get to Mont. So King Old, I think his story is kind of eh. Like the whole time is about, hey, I want my bloodline to survive, and I can understand that. But I feel like when Solidus was attacking them, they probably should have defended because that makes that throws into question the defense of the Leonis castle, right? Leonis castle is said to be an unbreakable unbreakable defense. Uh, at the time, Fennis and Horn were both marching on Leonis castle. So his brilliant plan is, hey, I'm gonna have Mont stay outside, and we're gonna defend the building. But then Mont comes back, and then he's like, okay, in that case, we're gonna evacuate. So they split up between him and Mont goes out, and then he leaves Stern and Helena to defend the city, to defend the castle, and then Stern kind of just surrenders, without much of a fight. Um, I think his whole role in the story is to kind of like contrast what a king would think versus what Mont would think. Because Mont is supposed to be a more benevolent and kind king, and he's kind of like the calculating type, so he's kind of similar to Curry, but not as big of an ass. I give him a B for story. I give him a B for battle. Let's put him as B. Engelbert. I think Engelbert, his character and his job does not work that well together. All right, so Engelbert, let's give him start with battle. He's an A plus. All right, thought to be the best tank until Warrior of Light. That's a good 2 or 3 months, I guess, and he's still widely considered one of the better tanks. So, but then tanks isn't particularly a good category. All right, let's say he's A plus in terms of battle, because Warrior of Light is S tier. His story though, like, so in the story, oh my gosh, Engelbert's story so bad. In the story, him and Shitzo are basically the sword and shield of Horn. And he's the commander of Solidus. I don't know why his he's got a fiery temper, but he's a tank. That makes no sense. That's weird. He's a tank and he's a commander and he's got a fiery temper. So if anything, I think Alucard, uh, I think he's a better leader. So the way he interacts with Frederica, Frederica's a little clingy and it's kind of, I guess that's played for comedy relief. But I think the reason why I think Horn is overhyped is because of him. Because he's the commander of Horn's Solidus division. And at the time, Solidus was marching against Leonis, and Leonis is like, okay, yeah, we're gonna split up, and uh, they're gonna wipe us out. So by the way, this guy sacrificing his king, this guy sacrificing his second son, jerk move, lower him down. Anyways, so uh, he got held off by Whisper single-handedly. So like story wise, I think he's hot-headed. Uh, got himself into a ton of trouble. Got King Rob injured. So not a fan of him in the story. Right, I give him a C for the story. Him and Shitzo are partners, and it seems more like he's the aggressive one. Seems like he's more the one that should be fighting instead of the defense. So his temper and his job doesn't really match. Um, guess I'll give him a B. Because I gave him an A plus for attack, right, for battle, right, and I gave him a C for story. So I guess B. Uh, Etris. Etris is interesting. Because she has a whole story devoted to her. Uh, there was a YouTuber that called that story. It's called the Admirable Prince. They call it the Thirsty Three. I think that's a fitting title. Okay, let's start battle wise. She is one of the weaker MRs. She's a free unit though. Generally, people think free units are pretty weak, and she's a free MR, so weaker than that. So let's say she's a C tier unit in terms of battle. Story wise, I think the story was decently entertaining. But she has like no character in the story, right? The whole point of the story was it's these three girls. They're interested in Stern, so they're kind of like trying to join Fordham. Meanwhile, midway, and it seems like all the girls in Leonis hate Lilith. Anyways, so they Lilith sends them to fight some skeletons, clear out a cave, and then they decided, hey, you know what? We're gonna go kill the Fennis. We're gonna kill Fennis units guarding the border. Uh, and in that way they have to accept us. Going above and beyond the call of duty. Going above and beyond the call of duty is good, but not when you're not even part of the army yet. And that type of like going against orders is probably not a good idea. So I give him a C. Frederica, A tier unit, right? Definitely A tier unit. 9 range in PvP is insane. Kind of squishy, but doesn't really matter. So A tier for battle, definitely A plus for battle. Story-wise, she's kind of clingy, but at least she's somewhat reasonable, unlike Engelbert. So I would say she's B tier in terms of like story. You can kind of she's not crucial to the story in any way, not yet, anyways. But like she's like the voice of reason, and she's kind of reining Engelbert in. So I would give her B plus. And but keep in mind this has to do with like the overall story and battle and design. I think her design is actually really nice. She's supposed to be like a I guess she's similar to Hallett of Octopath Travelers. She's like the wild not wildling, but she's like she like grows up in the wilds and is a hunter, and her clothes really reflects that. I really like her design, to be honest. I give her an A here. Fina, I think design wise she's pretty cute. I believe she's from Brave Exvius, so uh that's an NA on story. Battle wise, I think she's a decent support, but realistically, what she's used for one thing, and that's to raise faith. And to be honest, Killfei can do a better job at raising faith because Killfei raises the faith of all units in an area. So AoE faith raise is pretty good. I give her B or C plus based on the design. I think I can give her a B. Gilgamesh. Battle wise, very versatile unit. Got slash resist down. Premium unit, pretty powerful. So definitely S tier in terms of battle. Uh, his design is seems like robotic, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know about the design. I'll give him B for design. His actual his battle prowess, I guess he's S tier because premium unit. Let's say regular URs is A tier, premium UR, let's give him S tier for battle. Story wise, I feel like he kind of just does his own thing. Like he just comes out of nowhere, saves Mont, and he's kind of the god in Deus Ex Machina. So he's kind of the Deus in Deus Ex Machina. Uh, let's see, B tier design, kind of necessary to move the story along. So B tier story. Uh, S tier combat ability. I guess he's A tier. I'll probably lean more towards B tier. Gracela, S tier character, one of the best chainers in the game, one of the best lancers in the game. It's between her and Kane. Easily one of the best lancers in the game. But chaining makes her really good for PvP. Her limit break is insane for raid, or the chaining makes her really good for PvE. So she's great for raids. She's great for the slash resist makes her great for PvP. So battle wise, S tier unit. Design wise, I like a girl in armor. Uh, story wise, I think Gracela has one of the most interesting stories because Gracela she's holding a coup against her father. That's one thing. Um, she has her own little private army. Uh, she's engaged to Mont, and it doesn't seem like she really loves Mont. Like I feel like it's more of a hey, we're betrothed and there's some responsibility going on there. Like it uh doesn't seem like she's in love with Mont. Because when Mont was like, hey, take me to see King Curry, Gracela didn't stop her. Gracela kind of just respected his decision. So she trusts and respects Mont, but I don't think she loves him. Unfortunately for Gracela, there's a lot of these like, oh, honey moments. It's like, really? Really? That's kind of not logical. For example, because she fell for Victoria's trap, she didn't attack, because she fell for Victoria's trap, she attacked, early, and causing her, rebellion to fail. And because the rebellion failed, she got a lot of people killed, including like Marguerite, Miwu. Where's Miwu? Guess we're missing Miwu here as well. She got Marguerite, Miwu, a couple of them killed. We're missing Miwu. That's unfortunate. Miwu, I would give her. Okay, let's. I guess we'll do Miwu real quick since she's not here. Miwu, I would give a B or B plus because Miwu's design is kind of classic white mage design. Battle wise, classic white mage. Story wise, her story is actually pretty good. She escorted Mont to see Gracela, and then she trusted Mont to the end. Probably shouldn't have, but yeah, Miwu I would put as B or B plus. Gracela, S tier unit. Story wise, she has a very good story. Unfortunately, she shouldn't trust Mont till the end, but like, she's leading a rebellion against her own father for being a dick. Unfortunately, caused the death of a lot of her friends, so that's not good. But like, she, in terms of like her love story with her and Mont, she's like that. I would say like she's like the main wife. I would say like the main wife, and I guess Marjorie would be more like the concubine. But anyway, so she's like the main wife from a political marriage that's very like, I trust and respect your decisions kind of situation, which I think that would make her a pretty good wife. But yeah, I put A plus. Very good story here. Queen Helena. Queen Helena reminds me of Catelyn Stark. Uh, she's definitely a strong woman. Comes out with her own plans. Like after they got captured and they ran away, she's like, you know what? Our family was tasked with guarding these artifacts, and we kind of need them to save the country. So I'm making an executive decision here. We're going in to get the. We're going to go get the artifacts. So made an executive decision right there. She comes back as Helena of the Black Rose. That just that screams Game of Thrones, right? That's like when Catelyn Stark gets killed and comes back as the Stone Lady. Story wise, A plus story, right? Uh, Battle wise, Time Mage I think is pretty good. She is good for a lot of PvE content when you use her as Time Mage with the Quicken. The design here isn't that good. Like her design here isn't that good, but Black Rose Helena is very very good. So I would give the design an A. Battle I would say standard MR, so B. Story A plus. Uh, and I think she works well with King Old as a king, right? She doesn't follow everything her husband says. She doesn't really follow the whole will of the country or anything. She's like, okay, I need to save my country right now, so we're gonna go and get those artifacts. And she does. Unfortunately, she dies, and after she comes back to life, she's sensible enough not to go find King O because I feel like at that point she'd just be a liability. So she's sensible enough not to find King O, and instead she does her own thing. She recruits people, and she's now the Black Rose Helena. So very good character. Uh, so A plus for story, uh, A for design because of Black Rose Helena, B for battle, B plus A. I'll go A. Hallett, very interesting guy. Hallett is your like wandering knight. I think he was interested in Victoria and Luasa, mostly Victoria, and so he helped her, right? And he got fooled at the end, and Luasa at the end was just like, yeah, we were kind of just using you to raid this castle for its riches. And Howlett, being the badass that he is, wasn't even mad about it. He was just like, hey, you could have just told me that straight up. And then basically because they stole all the treasure, they got a bunch of pursuers with those magic cannons that they can't deal with. And then Hallett and his friend Shale, the three of them beat a whole army. So and raided a castle. So they're actually really badass in the story. I like his very whimsical, I do what I want, protect the maiden kind of kind of characteristic in the story, and like even when he got played, he's all like, hey, you know what? He wasn't even mad about that. So yeah, Hallett definitely A for story, A for battle. His design I don't really like, but I'm gonna give him an A. Odira, I'm a big fan of the glasses. That's one of the big things that jumped out to me. That's one of the reasons why I pulled her. I really like the librarian look. She hasn't shown up in the story yet. I guess she plays the logistics officer, right? The the person dealing with all the math and logistics for the onus. So no story. Battle wise, she is top tier. She's one of the best farmers in the game. Uh, so I would put her as A plus. I really like her design. Story, no story, so that doesn't count. And battle gameplay, she's A plus. She would literally in JP. I guess she would have been the best farmer for a good 6 to 7 months, because JP got little Leela a little later, and even with little Leela, I still use Ildira because of the spell blade for the spell resist is really good. Claudia, she is the little sister of Gracela. Not a lot of story about her. She's part of her private army, came to the rescue as reinforcements, but they still lost. Battle wise, standard MR B tier. I guess she would be like your. The thing with her being standard MR B tier, isn't bad, right? There are other B tier MRs, but the problem is like she's not second healer. Second healer is Grace. First healer obviously Ayaka, right? She's second healer. Uh, she's second to Grace, right? Grace is second to Ayaka. So you being an MR healer, there's a ton of MR healers, but like you're not the best MR healer. So I would give you a B for being an MR healer. Her design, can't comment on the design, too young. Story wise, not much of a story. So let's say B tier. I really wish I can pause this right now. Uh, how many more do we have? Ketone. I uh I like her character. I mean, I like her design, but like her character in the story is she's basically a messenger, but she's not as badass as Shadow Lynx as a messenger. Um, I would say she's kind of story wise, she's kind of C tier because she doesn't really. She's a messenger running around the battlefield, kind of like Shadow Lynx, but she doesn't have that same kind of impact that Shadow Lynx does. So story wise, I guess C tier. Battle wise, one of the best evade units. So I would give her an A for battle. So B plus. I like the design. I guess A. Lilith. Uh, Lilith is really thick. Standard MR, I guess. Don't really use her. Story wise, the her role in the story can kind of be substituted with anybody else. She runs a very like she's like the tutorial person all throughout the story to Mont. She's very loyal to Mont, but what gives her an extra spice to her character is her love story with Shitzel. I wouldn't say love story, but mutual respect, mutual gone through a lot together. I think I would ship them too, like Lilith and Shitzel, especially because Shitzel's fiance died. Uh, let's see. B tier for battle, B for I would say C for story to be honest. B for story, but I would say C for story, but give her an extra rank because of the little love story going on with Shitzel. So B, I guess. Not much to say about her design. Lorenzo, I guess C plus. Don't really remember him from the story. If you're in the story and I don't remember you, that's not good. I don't believe he showed up in the story yet though. But yeah, I'm not a fan of him. I don't remember seeing him in the story. And he's not the accuracy guy. He does have a pretty cool spear though. You remember him for being the spear TMR. So if I don't remember you, you ain't gonna rank high. Brave Exvius. This is Laswell from Brave Exvius. In terms of gameplay, A plus tier unit, right? S tier unit. I like his design. So all I'm really ranking him on is battle because I don't know too much about him. Lucia. Lucia just really showed up on the story. So I'll start with battle, A plus for battle. Story wise, she's actually pretty cool. Her story, she just shown up in I think chapter 10. Randall attacks the church. So these church guards are kind of mouthing off them like, you know where we're at, you know where we're at, you know you know where you're at, you know who we are, and then Lucia's like, bang, just caps the guy. I'm the third division leader of Randall. I don't give a shit who you are. Just caps the guy. Just for that badass moment right here. I would put her on like the level of badassery as Randall. Unfortunately, there was I believe there was a quest for the Razal Getty gun that probably involved her, but I didn't see that. So A plus unit, uh, A plus story. Not much character development in the story, but that badassery is enough in and of itself. I don't know much about her. Don't really play her. I think she's your standard MR, a little bit stronger. No design, so basically this is purely based on battle power. Mashari, widely regarded to be one of the weakest characters in the game, at least weakest UR. Let's say UR is average in A rank. I guess I would give her a B in terms of battle. Story wise, I like how she's always pushing Mont. And you can tell that she actually genuinely does love Mont because she's all like, "I'm waiting," and it's like, really, probably should have asked for them to save you. But there's a big inconsistency with her power level in terms of the storyline. Because when we first see her, she's about as strong as Shitso, okay? And Shitso can hold off an army on his own. Shitso can pretty much hold off Shitso can hold off Wazette on his own. So she's on par with the first sword of Horn. When you're the first sword of Horn, that means you're the strongest swordsman in Horn, and she can fight evenly with Shitso because they actually say that in the story. So story wise, she's supposed to be insanely strong. So I don't know how the heck she got kidnapped. Uh, by I guess Shiza would be third captain or third division of Horn. Anyways, I don't know how she got kidnapped, and she had people helping her too. And even with people helping her, she's all like, yeah, don't help. She fought them and lost 2 against 1. I can understand losing 2 against 1, but then telling Fordham not to help you when you could have escaped. Maybe she's playing the bigger game and she's trying to get her father and Mont to work together. I don't know. Um, Story wise, she got a bunch of story. I just don't particularly like her in the story the same way I like Gracela in the story, right? But she is always helping Mont. She is always encouraging him in a very like sassy in a very like sassy hard to get way. She's always like, yeah, you know, and she's like, oh yeah, you're not the really strong prince. I like how she when she first saw Mont, she's like, aren't you supposed to be like a amazing swordsman or something? So Mashuri, I give her B plus just because of how bad she is in terms of gameplay. Story wise, I kind of have to give her an A because she's the heroine. But I don't really like her in the story. I don't like her that much. I like Gracela better in terms of like which of the two is a better wife. I like Gracela better. Because of how trusting and respectful she is to Mont. Uh, Marjorie is kind of like the tough love version. Like she's always like, "Oh yeah, I don't like weak men. Uh, Stop staying weak." And then she gave the artifact to Mont. So now Mont with 2 artifacts can actually beat Moraga. So for all her hard work with Mont, I would put her as an A tier for story, but I do think Gracela is the better wife, but not as strong. I do like her design, particularly in the card Trousseau. She actually looks a lot more majestic there. Mediana, I don't think has any story. I think she's Brave Exvius as well. Uh, a lot of sex appeal going on here. I saw this other YouTuber who was like, "Oh yeah, she talks a lot of smack." Gameplay wise, I believe she was the strongest mage for until Ildira came out, right? Strongest mage, strongest farmer until Ildira. So that's worth something. Like if Ildira is A plus, I guess that would give you A power. And she's still viable now. Like because of the ninja ability, she can move a lot faster and a lot further, and then she can just bomb. She's just a suicide bomb with the limit break. So her design is pretty good. It's got the little milfy design here. Battle is A, so I guess that would make you A because there's no story. Marguerite. So Marguerite is loyal to Gracela. She runs Rubius. Gracela's little. She runs a band of thieves called Rubius, but she's loyal to Gracela and she's willing to help Mont, even though they kind of came late to save Mont. But like, she's loyal, loyal friend. Uh, So for story wise, I give her an A and at the end, like she died for Gracela, so I give her an A. Battle wise, she's a B, standard B tier unit, B tier MR, so B plus, I guess. But her story moment, I think, drives her over the top. Don't know this guy. This person, I can't remember her name is. I call her Cabbage when I see her because Cabbage runs her as his Cabbage runs her as his profile picture. So I don't think there's any story going on here. Her battle isn't particularly good, so there. Mont runs. I think when you look at Mont, you really have to look at him in terms of like his growth throughout the story. Like he starts off not that confident, living in Stern's shadow. He kind of grows onto his own. He's kind of benevolent. I like how he when King Ode wanted to sacrifice that village to stall the Fenris people. So King Ode, being the dick that he is, walks into gets treated by a Vazette village, and he knows he'll bring them trouble. His whole point was to make it seem like he's hiding in the village so that the Fenris troops will waste their time massacring the villagers. That's a big dick move. Meanwhile, Mont was against that. Mont trusted Miru, which was like interesting because you're on the run from your enemies. You got a person guiding you to your ally, seemingly at the point which is Curry. But midway, she tells Mont that like, hey, we're in a civil war right now, and I work for Gracela, and Mont actually believed him. Unfortunately, Mont does some pretty crazy decisions, like telling Ikido to take him prisoner to Curry, even though him and Gracela was able to beat them. So that's very unexpected. But it did win Surges' respect, so I guess that's okay. Power wise in the story, he was able to beat Moraga towards the end, but I think he's too I wouldn't say dumb, just naive. Got tricked by Victoria into going to save. So Victoria told him that Marjorie was taken to Leona's castle, and that Victoria will delay the fight for Gracela, delay Gracela's rebellion. The problem here is Gracela lends Rubius to help him achieve his mission, and then he turns around and basically abandons Gracela, all based on what Victoria said. Like I mean, in that kind of situation, you probably should have also talked to Marguerite, even though you may not need to talk to Venom. You did need to talk to Marguerite because they kind of saved your ass. So, I would say his story wise, Mon I think is a B tier, B plus for the story because he made some dumb boneheaded decisions. Uh, and pretty much he's mostly motivated by two things: one, protecting his kingdom, and two, saving Mashuri. But I do like Mont's comeback when he told Engelbert, he's like, hey, Shitzo risked his life to hold everybody off. And then Engelbert's like, well, you let your enemy's soldier sacrifice himself for you. What kind of prince are you, you know? And then he's like, well, he did that willingly. So he tells Engelbert he did that willingly. Engelbert's like, well, I don't believe everything I hear. And then Juan's like, well, you're not blind, so basically watch my actions. I think that's a very good comeback there. Battle wise, he's a top tier tank. I would say A tier tank. Um, he's MR level strong as a UR as a he's a UR level strong unit as an MR unit, so I think he deserves an A. Uh, uh, Design wise, I think I'm okay with his design. Maybe I should just put him down in B plus with Mashuri there for a little betrayal thing. I wouldn't say it's betrayal, but it is abandon. He kind of did abandon Gracela there. And realistically, in that kind of situation, Gracela is plotting a rebellion tomorrow, and you're crucial to the plan because you're in the castle. You're their inside man, so to speak, and you kind of just ran. Um, Not that I think like I'm pretty sure Curry would have killed him a little earlier at the time anyway, because if he refuses to leave, I think Gracela would have told Curry that. So that's understandable. But it was more like he ran just to look for Mashuri, and now you get to look at her because you're right next to each other. Uh, and it's like, well, Mashuri's taken, fine, but and she's waiting because that's what she says. I'll be waiting. But like Horn is actually a pretty powerful country, and Horn is technically stronger than you at the moment. And Horn is on the way to save Mashuri, so why do you need to go? Like you probably would have been better to help Gracela beat Curry and then go down with Rosette. Not that I think Gracela would do that, but I feel like Rubius saving Mont and then Mont kind of abandoning Gracela was pretty bad. I think that's a smear on his character. Um, Marielle, I think this is she's part of the Saiga Golga storyline, right? So the storyline is Lorella and Skull are in love. Lorella is the chief of Golga, and she basically backstabbed her and made her out to be a traitor to help Golga survive. Mostly because of her own personal ambitions and she wanted power. But the other thing is, she had a good reason doing it because Golga, as a ninja clan, really depended on people having wars and peace. Lorella's idea of peace is basically in her mind going to screw the country, going to screw the little clan. So she did what she thought was right. I think that's good. I think that's good for a villain. Like you don't, your motives are believable. Unit wise, top tier tank unit, like very good magic tank. On top of being a very good magic tank, um, she's basically Odira but like type, right? She's got calculator and spellblade, two of the abilities that Odira has. So I would say she's A tier. You're A tier because you're an MR that's strong. You're an MR that's really strong. MR that you are level strong. And then story wise, there was a betrayal. Another betrayal betrays Lorella, but with actually pretty good reasoning. So I do like that character. All right, it's been another hour, so we're gonna stop here for now, and hopefully to finish up the rest in the next part. All right. shortly.